Lost Faith monologue. Today's date is Sunday the 7th of September 2025. It's the government's emergency alert today on a full moon. There's something about this full moon as well. I'm not sure, I haven't explored it. Just something somebody mentioned to us about this particular moon. One of those big moons or something like that. But yeah, it's a full moon because this is how the occult do things. They do things based on the sun, the moon, the stars, dates, astrological dates, events, what have you. Full moon, they're issuing a warning. The 7th of September, 7/7. September is 7. It's not 9. It's 7. Sept. 7/7. 2025. So that's how they do things. They're a cult. Do things by the cycles of the moon, like lunatics. They live their lives by the lunar calendar. Lunatics. So, where's the flags? Children? Where's the red and white cross? Red and white flags, the Red Cross, St George's flags? Haven't seen any for a while. Was that just a flash in the pan? Is your little Psyop over with now? There's going to be a rise in Christianity, a rebirth, if you like. That's what's going to go hand in hand with this next chapter in the pantomime, rise of Christianity one last time. Obviously I'll watch certain videos that crop up in my social media feed, because obviously Al Gore thinks I'm right wing, and the algorithms think I'm right wing, so I get all of this right wing bullshit. So I keep an eye on what's going on, just out of interest, curiosity. Keep an eye on the enemy, or what Psyop are they running this time. And there's barely, I would say 90% of the videos I watch of people with the red crosses, or just people who are supporting reform, or people who are going to the protests, the Boatman, Soros Viking protests. 9 out of 10 of them, there's not one goes by. 9 out of 10 go by and have to mention Christianity. I've never known this before in my lifetime. Afternoon. I've never known this in my lifetime. In terms of, I know we didn't have social media back in the 80s, 70s and 80s and 90s, but nobody spoke about Christianity. Nobody preached Christianity. Nobody mentioned it. So this is being engineered somehow. And I think it's because, obviously, they see the threat as a religious threat, but it's being engineered. These Soros Vikings they're just puppets. They're just pawns in the game as well, being used to create a reaction, problem, reaction, solution, flood the country. This started under Blair, New Labour, desperate for digital IDs, still is, demon face, flood the country and give the right wing, which is probably the majority of the people in this country, lean right, if they're being honest with themselves. And by that I mean they're conservative in their thinking. They want they want equality, and I don't mean the snowflakey, wokey version of equality. They want equal rights, and they feel like they come second at the minute. I would say the vast majority of people in this country are more conservative than they are liberal in the current political definitions of those two words. So flood the country and get the people to recognise that there's a threat, and not only the safety of their children but also jobs, suppression of minimum wage, benefits, all of the other stuff. Most people don't want to go to work and pay their taxes, or have their taxes stolen from them, have their fruit stolen from them and call it taxes. Most people don't want to go to work, pay their taxes and see a whole load of freeloaders. This happened back in the, I don't know, maybe the noughties or the early 10s, where people on benefits were really attacked by the media that made reality television programmes and really shamed them, used the most extreme examples of lazy, self-loathing people on benefits with huge families, made the most extreme examples, put them on television, got everybody to hate them, and then everybody just guilt by association. And that's all they're doing now. They're just making people feel like other people are freeloading. And then if they see, so the reaction is outrage and chaos on the streets, stupid occult symboled flags on lampposts. Reaction. In comes the solution. Dun, dun, dun. Welcome, Nigel Farage. Reform. That's what's happening. It's so blatantly obvious. Reform has been put in to capture these people. The people don't want reform. They're not voting, it's not organic. He's just another puppet, like they're all puppets. Hiya. And he's saying the right things, isn't he? Saying the right things. And guess what? He's a Christian. What a coincidence. Not like these, you know, what you would call just a full-out satanic left-wing communist like queer Stalin. Godless. He's a Christian. When the opposition needs a leader, we shall provide it. There's your Christian leader. And that's the biggest telltale sign. It's going to start pushing the values and morals of Christianity and suck people in, and also get people to see it as a religious war. So the lost people will go, yeah, I didn't really think I was a Christian, but yeah, we've got to fight the Islamists. So yeah, love thy neighbour. Not like these extremists. I'm a peace, God-loving Christian. And it's just another mind control technique. tells us what to do. Write it down and 10 commands. Give us some commands. Not too many, because I'm not intelligent enough to know just the one that matters. You know, the difference between right and wrong, objective morality. Not that one. It's too complicated. It takes thinking power. I haven't got any thinking power. Just give us a few commandments, and not too many, but enough so I can open my leather-bound book and check what I should do. Because I'm just a puppet. Go on, 10 max. Okay, thanks. It's just more mind control, and that's what's happening. We've swung so far to the left with this current communist Marxist regime. It's so blatantly obvious. If you think you're on the left, you have to adopt all of their thoughts and opinions, and that's what people do. Yeah, I'm on the left, so I agree in immigration. I agree that anybody who thinks it's any element of it is bad is racist. Oh, that means that I also despise Christianity as well, because it's out of that religion that you're not allowed to have same-sex marriage, and nobody's allowed to be gay and lesbian and trans, and God created us all with just two genders. Yeah, I hate that as well. And they just adopt everything, every single thing, because they're mind-controlled, weak, traumatised, self-loathing little individuals who've never matured, never grown up, never evolved past pride, interest and pride. What's pride again? Month, June. Pride marches, rainbow people, alphabets. They've never evolved past pride. Dysfunctional pride, which always comes before the fall, which is a biblical phrase, but it is actually scientific. Come back to that later. Get through these cows. God, stupid cows. Gonna go right round because some of them are calves. Didn't want to get between a heifer and a calf. Right, more on dysfunctional pride later. Let's stick to Farage, Reform, Christianity. So, it's a Psyop. It's just to get you back in, man. Nobody's interested in politics anymore. People think it's broken. Kids aren't interested. They're more interested in either Andrew Tate or whatever. They don't care. They've demoralised people so much that the younger generation have just lost hope. I've lost faith. I haven't lost hope. So they're just trying to suck everybody back in. I'm sure I heard, need to check this, I'm sure I heard that Nigel Farage mentioned Andrew Tate's name, not in a negative light. And I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it's true, but I heard that and I thought, right, this is what Andrew Tate was for. To me, he came out of nowhere. Yeah, he was on Big Brother or something and made a bit of a name for himself, but I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know any Big Brother people. And then I think he was a cage fighter or mixed martial arts fighter or something like that, and apparently is good at it, so I wouldn't know anything about that either. He, to me, came out of nowhere, and his father is CIA. He's an intelligence asset, or his father was. He's not alive now, but he was a chess player. He was a grand master chess player, and he worked for the intelligence agencies. Right, you'll often see people, certainly from, this is the way it always used to happen. When it comes to light, that certain people were actually spies, intelligence assets, and the like. They were travelling. They travelled for a living. You know that day job, that cover story, like Houdini, and certain actors, authors, musicians. They travelled. That was their day job, because so it wouldn't arouse suspicion. If I was just constantly in and out of countries that were quite, bizarre places to go, like behind the Iron Curtain back in the day, or just, the Middle East, whatever. If I did that, I would arouse suspicion with the border control. And so, but if I was a musician and I'm going to play gigs, or I'm a magician, or some sort of illusionist Houdini, travelling all around the world to show people his talents, then it doesn't arouse suspicion. Andrew Tate's dad, chess player, world class chess player, grand master. What do you think he did as part of his day job? Travelled. Right? Andrew Tate gets about a lot. But he's obviously very intelligent. And he's obviously a chip off the old block. He openly talks about his dad. And in a positive light, obviously. It's up to him. But he'll know what he did for a living. And the apple never falls far from the tree. Just like Jim Morrison, the Lizard King. That name's not a coincidence either. Jim Morrison, father was an intelligent asset. Jim Morrison was the leader, symbolic leader of the counterculture. The very culture that opposed the war. His dad was a general or a captain or whatever. I can't think of what his actual rank was in the military, and he was high ranking and in charge of the ship that was triggered the Gulf of Tonkin incident, which is accepted as a false flag. It was a lie. It didn't happen the way it was portrayed. It escalated the Vietnam War, and Jim Morrison's dad was part of that intelligence community. Jim Morrison then goes on to lead pretty much the counterculture. Chip off the old block. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. What do you think? Do you think that's a coincidence? Do you think this is somebody rebelling against his dad? What? And you both happen to be pretty much the leaders of opposing sides. If the opposition needs a leader, we shall supply it. The whole counterculture was led by children of military fathers, intelligence agencies and the like. This is an operation. So, back to Tate. He's a psyop, he's an actor. I'm not saying everything is fake, like a TV set. I'm saying he's acting a part. So, what's he known for, Tate? He's known for sweeping up, like the Pied Piper, sweeping up disenfranchised young men who feel lost in society, young men who are disengaged with things like politics. That's who he sweeps up, like the Pied Piper of Hamelin. And now I know what his role was. I always knew he was a fringe magnet. He'll give you a bit of truth, pepper a bit of truth, but he'll never lead you anywhere. He'll always lead you to a dead end. He's a Pied Piper, and where he's going to lead them is to vote reform. Andrew Tate, how many followers must he have of young, disengaged young men? And now he's going to lead them to reform. So Farage knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Doesn't mean he's in control, but he knows what he's doing. And Farage's role, and he's best chums with Peter Thiel and the Silicon Valley crowd. He'll be funded, he'll be receiving funding, and then people like Thiel, whatever you call him, will want a return on his investment, which is more and more government contracts pushing his data harvesting businesses. That's how it works. So this is a man who injects himself with teenagers' blood to keep himself fit and healthy. This is somebody who is so vain, so self-loathing, that he can't handle aging, let alone dying. I think I've said this. The idea of dying when you've got that much wealth, to these sick, psychopathic, narcissistic, satanic, self-loathing, absolute dead entities. The idea of dying is unbearable. Don't want to leave their wealth. Not their friends and their family, their loved ones, their wealth. So anyway, Farage, when he gets in, he'll just be repaying all of those investments. More AI, more control, more digitization of everything, and digital ID to solve the problem of mass immigration. Problem, reaction, solution. Vast majority of people will see that as an acceptable solution, and they can't see the dangers of it. It'll be tied to everything. It'll be tied to your bank account, and it'll be tied to your health records. It'll be tied to your social media. It'll be tied to your employment. Every single thing. And if you put a foot wrong as in their version of wrong, then your digital ID is turned off. If you don't take your poisonous and if you don't inject poison under your skin when you're told to, turn off the digital ID. If you spend money on things that you're not meant to spend money on, like petrol and diesel, turn off your digital ID. Or certainly turn off the part of it which allows you to spend money on those things. This is all ready to go. Say something wrong on social media, turn off your travel allowance. People that are so fucking backwards. I just don't. They're so naive. They never learn. The government wouldn't do that. What are you talking about? It wasn't that long ago they locked you in your own home, and they didn't even have to be present. They were in your television, and you obeyed like a fucking little child. And people, they love the abuse. They love the abuse. It's a narcissistic, sociopathic relationship with the government. The government is just an entity that has no morals, no feelings, and just treats you like their slave. They want you to be subservient. It doesn't matter who changes within the front of house, the government's still there, abusing you. And you just, it's like an abusive relationship. Somebody's being battered in the face by their husband, and while he's battering her in the face, he's saying, I'm doing this because I love you. And somebody comes in, an outsider comes in and says, when they get an opportunity, says to the woman, you need to leave, he's abusing you. He's not, he loves us. And she goes back for more. He's going to kill you. He's not. He wouldn't do that, he loves us. Because we are traumatised as people. We are traumatised. And deep down, we think, I don't mean me and people who are awake, as people, the level of consciousness that we're at is down in the abuse, victim, abuser mentality, level of consciousness. And abusers deep down believe that they deserve abuse because they've been abused all their life. They've been neglected at an early age. Their parents have been emotionally and spiritually vacant. So they've never matured and they've never grown. And they can't get past pride. So people love the abuse. So anyway, back onto reform. So I switched on last night. Something popped up in my feed, and it was Malhotra speaking at the reform conference. Now I think this was at the Birmingham NEC. So snazzy venue, big crowd, very professional. They mean business. And Malhotra, doctor, he back before the 2020 Psyop, he was kind of a bit of a fighter against one particular drug, statins, which was meant to lower your cholesterol and reduce your chances of a heart attack or heart disease. And he has done a lot of work to demonstrate that. It's bullshit, basically. I think it's something like, you look into yourself, it's something like, if you already suffer from heart disease, it might help 1% or something like that. But generally speaking, if you don't actually have heart disease, you don't need any to do nothing for you. You just need to get your cholesterol down natural ways, and basically if your cholesterol's naturally high, like mine, I was told to go on them. Some people just have naturally high cholesterol. Some people, you have an average. Of all the people in the world, you have an average. Well, some people have got to be skewed above and some people have got to be skewed below. Doesn't mean there's a problem. Fucking idiots. Anyway, after the 2020 rollout of the experimental poison, he started speaking up against it causing problems such as heart problems like myocarditis. It's just a coincidence. And heart attacks, things like that. And he obviously got involved with what you would call the conspiracy crowds, because they're the only people that were actually awake to what was going on at the time. But he tried to keep himself out of the hardcore conspiracy crowds. But he became a kind of a spokesperson. He wasn't, he wouldn't get time on television. He wouldn't get big slots on the mainstream media, the BBC. but he was trying to raise awareness. And actually he did get one opportunity on the BBC, and he did put something in there. He like sneaked it in about myocoinciditis and the experimental poison. So he's been an advocate for halting these experimental injections full of poison. Oh, wow. No shit, they're harmful. So anyway, he was at this conference. So this is a huge political conference, and it'll be covered obviously by the mainstream to a degree. And obviously this is Nigel Farage. He's building up a head of steam. This is a mainstream conference, and Malhotra is on there talking about his conversations with RFK. Rang him after he had been on GB News. After Malhotra had been on GB News, he just got a phone call off RFK. See, what they're doing is they're copying what's happened. It's just a cycle. They're just copying what's happened in America with the puppet Trump. So anyway, but he's saying things like, these poisons, you need to inject so many people in each age group to prevent one hospitalisation, and that might be 700 people over 70. But so one hospitalisation is saved out of 700 people. So the 699 weren't needed. It's just, you're just throwing shit at a wall. Eventually some of it'll stick. But those 699 people who didn't need it, the side effects are real. Side effects, or the effects are real. The harms, you don't escape that. Nobody escapes injecting poison under the skin. Nobody escapes that. And then as that goes down the age groups, I don't know how they come up with this thing about saving hospitalisations. It's just data crunching, isn't it? It's, the first things first, Malhotra. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as, the 2020 Psyop disease. It doesn't exist. Never been shown by any government or any institution anywhere. This thing exists in isolation from anything else. It's never been done. So it's just rebranded bad flu season, whatever. And obviously mass murder by the NHS, National Socialist Health System. Anyway, Malhotra's talking at this conference and he's giving all these statistics. So the more you go down the age range, let's just say people 40 to 50, it's something. It's like thousands and thousands and thousands, maybe 10,000s of people need to be injected with poison to save one hospitalisation. Well, those tens and thousands of people still got the side effects. It's had no benefit for them, they didn't need it. Still got the side effects. And this is pretty much what he's saying. Apart from the fact that he believes it's real. And the point is, we're just destroying people. And he also linked it to the big C. The big C, which you're not allowed to talk about. He linked it to that. And what they are just, we're just being sucked in. Just being sucked in for a vote. That's it. You can't vote your way out of tyranny. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting something different to happen is the definition of insanity. So, this is all just, it's a psyop. Malhotra probably thinks he's real and that he's doing good work. And I'm sure deep down he believes he is. He's just being used like a puppet. So anyway, what I'm pondering is these people on the right who are clapping like fucking seals at these puppets, these St. George Cross flag flying retards, just like the left who fly their flags. And they don't understand the symbology, just like the rainbow people don't understand the symbology. They don't understand what any of it means on that flag. Cover that in a different episode. So what I'm trying to get my head around is what do these people think? Vast majority of people injected themselves with poison. They're clapping Malhotra, and he's basically telling them that they're potentially going to get the big C. What are they thinking? Or can they not think? Do they just think, no, it won't be me? It won't be me. I mean, even according to the official patient information leaflet that you're meant to read as part of informed consent in the poisonous injection, even that says, things like myocoinciditis is very rare. But what does very rare mean? You always have to say, what does that mean? It might mean something different to them than what it does to you. So if you look this up, very rare means greater than 50,000. 1 in 50,000 chance. So could be 1 in a million, but it could be 1 in 50,000. The scale doesn't go any further. It's not defined. So very rare means 1 in 50,000. Maximum chance. That's not rare. That's not rare. So the Muppets that go to St James's Park football stadium every Saturday and cheer on men playing a child's game, 50,000 people in that stadium. Would you go to that stadium if at the final whistle the losing manager had to put a blindfold on and fire a random shot into the crowd? And that's what the losing manager had to do at the end of every game. Would you go? Well, you've got one and it's very rare. So it's rare that it's going to happen to you. 1 in 50,000 chance of getting shot. Would you go and watch that team? Well, as far as Newcastle fans are concerned, they probably would. They'd go and watch paint dry. So, 1 in 50,000. So yeah, Malhotra is talking like this, and are people how are people going to react? I think they're just going to ignore it. It wasn't. I'm fine. It was 4 years ago. I'm good. I've dodged the bullet. I just think they're going to think that, or they're just going to think it won't happen to me. 1 in 50,000 won't happen to me. I mean, whether you believe it's 1 in 50,000, that's it doesn't tell you what the risks of it causing the big C, or certainly. I think what Malhotra said was it obviously the part of your system which combats tumours and fights tumours, it inhibits that part of your system or something like that. So if you've got a tumour, then you're not going to be able to fight it off. Something like that. You need to obviously look it up yourself, but because how many people could have the big C or a tumour and it's just low level and they don't, it causes them no problems, and eventually they might just overcome it. How many people How many people go through that without even knowing? This is why they say you should get diagnosed early, because you could have it without even knowing. Now, how many people have it without even knowing and it causes them no problems? How many people have it without even knowing, but because they go to the doctors and then poison themselves with chemicals and radioactive therapies, or cut bits of their innards out, and then they succumb because of the treatment? How many people? But anyway, the point is, this injection full of poison, apparently, if you do have a issue with the big C, then you're fucked.